Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next The Reckoning of Roku chapter analysis video. This one's going to be for chapter 30, which is called Marauding Bands of Airbenders. Once again, YouTube channel membership is available if you would like to help support the channel, and subscribing is also helpful. But we have a pretty quick chapter here. It's with Malaya and Gyatso, and this is mostly a kind of transition chapter, kind of getting us across the idea that okay, Malaya and Gyatso are actually quite close now at this point, having spent a few days together. They've talked to each other quite extensively about each of their cultures. So Gyatso knows quite a bit about the island now. And the most important thing for a Malaya chapter is that Malaya now knows quite a lot about the air nomads. And it's obviously the idea of the stories that Ulo told are nothing like what the Airbenders are actually like, what the air nomads are actually like. So there's some interesting stuff here, but mostly we're waiting to see where, what the next step for Malaya and Gyatso is. But we get up to speed with some interesting information right at the start. So Malaya returns once again. She's gone on another trip back to the main village, and she finds Gyatso hanging out by the hot springs with a bunch of hog monkeys, which is a fun visual to see. And she confirms to Gyatso that Roku is alive. Ulo seems to be treating him pretty well, just showing him around the village. He doesn't appear to be a prisoner, but she can't really get close enough to, get a good sense for what the exact dynamic is. They kind of go back and forth and address the idea of, killing outsiders. Would they kill Roku? Does Ulo know in some way that he's the Avatar? And they kind of realize that unless Roku told him, I'm not really sure, highlighting that Malaya at least doesn't know about the aura sensing stuff. So that's kind of interesting, but Roku might have just said that anyway. You do have Gyatso expressing a little bit of kind of concern and guilt over the idea of, it was maybe the wrong move to separate from Roku. I might need to go rescue him now. I'll do whatever I can to kind of keep Roku safe, except hurt, torture, kill, all that sort of stuff. And this is where she notes that, yes, she now knows this about air nomad culture, that it's the complete opposite of what Ulo said about the air nomads. They're not brutal in any way. The fact that they won't even eat meat really highlights the idea they're full-on kind of pacifists, and she's more almost concerned about the idea of how do you guys not die from malnutrition, basically, from not having any meat is her point almost. But she asks so many questions about the air nomad. She is truly interested in it, and she goes from being open about outsiders to, I think, really having a proper interest in, if she ever left the island, she would, I think, love to go meet the other air nomads, go to the air temples. But we get back on track, and the question comes up, do you know anything about the Earthbenders, and Yuming and Chija? And she says, no, I haven't seen them at all. I also haven't seen Amihan at all, or Kilat, her gorilla tarsier. So they're all still kind of missing. We don't know what the full situation is with them. This is where we get the guilt aspect from Gyatso. I should have never left Roku alone. If something happens to him, it will be all my fault. So Gyatso, realizing he was overly harsh on Roku with the incident that led to the two of them separating, but Malaya just kind of helps to, get across the idea. We will save him. We'll need a good plan. You don't think I already have one? And she's looking at the hog monkeys as she says this. So clearly they're part of whatever the plan is. Gyatso's eager to hear what the plan is. Do you think it's going to work? But, Malaya took Gyatso's nearest hand and laced her fingers through his. We'll keep your friend safe. So that's that whole idea. And she tries to, she thinks she's making the mistake here, kind of asking Gyatso to open up a little bit more. She asks, can you tell me about your sister Yama? Gyatso does confirm it's his older sister Yama, so that's interesting. But she asks, what was she like? Gyatso kind of pulls away, and she thinks she's made a mistake, kind of almost assuming they know each other more than they actually do. But Gyatso does actually, you know, come back around and tell her he is ready to finally open up about this, that they are actually this close after only knowing each other this long. We do address the other side of this, which is how much she has told him. And yeah, she teaches him all about the clan, the island, her people. She shared how she'd learned to never question certain things in order to survive. She described how she regretted that willful ignorance and had become determined never to go back to it, even if it meant she was exiled from the village and had to live out the rest of her life alone on the other side of the island. She'd even told him why her relationship with her parents was so broken, a wound she never bared to another soul. Now, I'm interested to go through the rest of the chapters because having read the book a few times prior to doing this chapter analysis series, I don't remember what this is if it gets revealed. I know she at some point, we might have already gone past it, mentions the idea of her parents always going on about who she should marry, but I don't think they present that strong enough with the idea that there's this almost incident that's this wound of why she doesn't have a strong relationship with her parents. The book presents the idea that she is disconnected from her parents and doesn't even know her brothers that well, but we don't know the full situation here. So this is why I'm eager to do the chapter analysis series, to really go in depth on the other Malaya chapters to see if we approach addressing the full situation here. But she tells Gyatso about this, and that speaks to how easily she has connected to him in just a few days. But we get back around to what's he going to say about Yama. And he starts laughing, and she's like, wait, why is this? And he says, I'm sorry, it's just that I think I understand something Roku once told me. He said I might need to learn to love Yama in a new way now that she's no longer with me. And now I think I get what he meant. And so Malaya is now smiling as well as Gyatso began to tell Malaya all about his sister. Now that is the end of the chapter. We don't actually get the details here. We'll get them later on, more with Roku also involved, so he gets this story as well, because that's the key thing here, is Roku needs to understand why Gyatso kind of went off at him from before and why it relates to this. But it is interesting that Gyatso actually opens up first to Malaya, though admittedly it's also because he is using some of the advice Roku gave him earlier on. Having, you know, Roku is older, he has been through a loss as well and has managed to mostly get past it now, and you're seeing Gyatso take that step now as well. So interestingly, both Roku and Gyatso are both learning from little bits and pieces that they've said to each other. Roku opening up about like accepting this island and viewing it as independent. That definitely adds into what kind of Gyatso was trying to present to him. And now the advice from someone more experienced in a way, helping Gyatso through this in telling Malaya. But definitely really like the dynamic between Gyatso and Malaya here. It's a really nicely done relationship. But that is the end of the chapter. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were. But otherwise, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.